Can economists' predictions help us make decisions for the rest of 2025? That's what I'm thinking. Hey, before we jump into some metrics that are being bandied about and how to think about them and how they might help us make better decisions, just want to remind everybody, hit that subscribe button, click on like, help other people find this information on YouTube. And with that, let's jump in. I'd come across an article recently by Josh Brown. He's a great commentator on what's going on in the market. We'll put a link to his article here in the show notes. But early this year, when predictions were coming out for 2025, he published one graph that I thought was really interesting as I'm reading it here in May. And we'll pull that up here. In those dark bars, that blue is what economists expected to happen the last 2 years and then for this year, right? As far as GDP growth. And then the yellow bars are what happened in 2023 and 2024 actually. So the actual returns, and of course, 25, we don't know that yet. But take a look at just what's going on here. Going into 23, remember 2022, right? Everything down, post-COVID. Still the hangover happening. What's going on? Economist predictions for the economy. I don't know what that number is. Something less than 0.5%. Well, how did the economy actually grow? Right, over 3. Remember, that was when everybody was predicting recession. 100% chance of recession in 2023. Economy boomed, right? So what happens next year? Economists, all right, we're up over 1%. I mean, 3 times what the previous prediction was. What happens in the economy? Up over 2.5, right? So what happens this year? Right, prediction up over 2% on GDP growth. Now take a look. What I take from this, what do we do about this? Economist predictions very bad. Returns up here, right? What happens next year? Returns predictions get higher. Actual GDP growth slightly lower, but still, on the high side of things. And you take a look at it's almost like buying stocks after the market goes up, right? I expect really bad things. The market does well. Geez, I have higher expectations. And I don't know that it works in inverse, but it's certainly GDP growth is on a downward track as economist predictions are on an upward path, right? Doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence in relying on those things. So it's almost a negative indicator as I look at that going, hey, as economists are in arrears, getting the bets wrong and, trying to play catch up, just looking at this tells me or has me anticipating, hey, I don't expect it to be quite as good as it was in the past, right? And now think about where this is. This article was published in January, right? So before tariffs, before we even knew what the markets were doing, before all these other things that are going on, right? This is the sort of leading evidence of, I kind of expect it to maybe not be as good economy-wise this year, right? And so the measurements or the things that we read about and hear about, and tariffs, legitimate things. We're going to have to see what goes on with that, right? However, it's also, as we've said before on this show, this happens periodically. Is it strictly because of those things? Maybe. Are those things exacerbating what we're seeing in the economy? Maybe, right? But it could be in part, or maybe even in large part, that's how these things go in cycles. And looking at that sort of thing gives me a little bit of peace of mind and helps me have some perspective when the next round of news comes out. So that's what I'm thinking. I was always interested in knowing what you're thinking. Jot a comment in the comment box. What do you think about the economist predictions, and are they an inverse predictor of what to expect in the economy, or should they carry more weight? We should think about that. Love to hear what's on your mind. And as always, thanks for watching.